We have the follow-up issue to World's Finest. We have the new Captain America issue 0, and was Hulk issue 6 worth all that hype and spec? All this and more on this week's episode of After the Pull. Fans, welcome back to Comic Book Corner 2.0. I'm your host, Mike Spider Slayer, getting ready to bring you, of course, another episode of After the Pull. This is the video series where I take some of my most highly anticipated comics and I share with you my thoughts and do a countdown. And of course, will this countdown hold up through the entire week? Well, you'll find out on Tuesday night when I do my live stream called Comic Book Weekly. I team up with my good friends Kat Comic Uno and Brant Fowler as we talk about our top 5. We talk about the big books of the week and comic books worth of news for the week, taking your questions and comments live. Again, join us Tuesday nights, 10:15 p.m. Eastern Time. Hope to see you there. So guys, let's get started. Okay, so we have 6 books to talk about today. I still have a few others to read, not too many though. And you know, have you ever had a book where you got done reading it and you're like, what the heck did I just read? Well, number 6 goes to SpiderGwen Gwenverse issue 2. Now, you guys are probably wondering, why the heck did you pick this up, Mike? You said you were not going to read this. And the only reason why I picked it up because I thought a SpiderGwen 2099 was going to make their appearance, because there was a variant cover that came out with a SpiderGwen 2099 on it, done by In-Hyuk Lee, and it looked phenomenal. It's in my top 10 comic book covers of the week. Unfortunately, that character did not make its appearance in here. We did get a Wolverine Gwen character in this issue, and that was maybe the only cool thing, but this book is just not good. I mean, here's your Wolverine Gwen character. Again, she makes her appearance in here. And then this is just a book where it just spits out words to spit out words just to have dialogue in here. Well, half the stuff doesn't make sense, and you get all these different Gwen characters coming from all these different universes and timelines, and it's all being messed up by this villain by the name of Finale, and it's an absolute joke. Like, I hate this book so much, and it's just like, since I bought it, I was like, well, why not read it? Now, there was only one good part in this book where we get Stark's son in here, and you get Normie Osborn in here as they're watching the battle happen in front of them, you know, acting like kids, right? And they get they got in the crosshairs of the battle, and one of the boys, I think Stark's son, winds up getting injured, and the boy swears to him, he's like, I'm going to protect you no matter what whatever the stakes, and I'm going to build you a real set of armor. So it looks like you're going to get another version of Iron Man based off of this series. So, you know, if there's one good thing out of this series that has come out, there's all these new characters where if you're a speculator, you might want to pick it up, because you never know, one of these characters could stick, and all of a sudden it becomes a hot book, right? So we'll see what happens. I might continue to read it, maybe just for that reason. And some of the covers are actually cool, like this main cover here. So overall, story very poor. I wouldn't recommend to buy it, but if you're a speculator and you want some different type of characters, that's all it's worth. So now we move on to the top 5. That's right, guys. And number 5, and I want to say this is probably going to be by default, at least for right now, goes to Hulk issue 6. Now, there's been all this hype for a very long time of the character Titan. This was going to be the equivalent of Null, right? Donny Cates is writing this series. I know some people are not into it, as some people are calling this the Power Rangers Hulk, or this is the version of Hulk that they've never wanted to see, and other people really enjoy it because of the action. And yes, it's a little bit of the story is a little bit complex with the persona of Hulk, but they love the action of the book, and they love the artwork of the book as well. Me, I've enjoyed it. Unfortunately, the payoff for this final issue of this first story arc was a complete letdown. Let's check out the artwork in this book by Ryan Ottley. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. I love all the action scenes, all the characters in the book. this is where the book really shines, is all the action and the grotesqueness of what happens in the issue and how dark it is. I mean, that's what makes this book really a lot of fun. And I can totally understand why they put Ryan Ottley on this book. It's because he does this style of art so well, right? But the overall story, when it came to this final issue and the introduction to this Titan character, was very underwhelming. Like, obviously, you wind up getting to see a manifestation of Betty and Bruce Banner's mind. Like, he loses control of the Hulk, and this Betty persona takes over and pushes the Hulk limits, right? All the way to that level 10. And what came out of it was this insane rage, or another version of Hulk that we've never seen before, which is called Titan. And we get to see that it's just this complete uncontrollable rage of a monster, right? He's got like electricity flying out of his eyes and everything else. And Banner seems to try to gain control, hits the emergency switch on Hulk's psyche, and winds up having Hulk break free of the engine room door and regain control again. But Banner has a contingency. He has another emergency button where it's a repair button, where all the damage that Hulk has suffered repairs himself again and locks Hulk right back up into that door once again. And we basically start over from where we began. And I'm like, well, what was the whole point of this issue or this story arc in general when we just basically are starting over from scratch? Banner's in control of Hulk again, and then the next thing you see is he's out of that world, and as soon as he gets out of that world, we see the Hammer come for Hulk, and that's what kicks off Hulk versus Thor. So I felt like this story arc was really for no reason. I guess maybe it's to try to get to understand this version of the Hulk. What was the purpose of the Titan? Is this going to be the last that we see of this character? So does this book pay off for the speculators out there? I don't know if it actually is. You know, I went onto my Facebook group page and I saw a lot of members of my group buy 6, 7, 8 copies of this, all the variant copies, you know, hoping that this is going to be the next Null. And personally, I just don't see it. You know, this is just another persona of the Hulk, in my opinion. And, you know, when are we going to see this? This is almost like Thor when everyone got all hyped up about the what was it, the Black Winter or the Dark Winter, and we haven't seen that character ever again either. So I don't know. Will this book pay off for Spec purposes? I guess time will tell. You know, I hope it does for the people that did buy all those issues. I bought this copy and a variant cover, and that was it. So let's keep our fingers crossed. So climbing up the countdown now, we move on to number 4. And number 4 goes to DC Comics' Nightwing issue 91, as this is the second issue to the team up with Barry Allen. And this story was actually really cool. I really enjoy the team up between these two. You can feel the friendship between these two because obviously they were part of the Titans together. And even though this is not the regular artist on this book, it is still a good artwork, and it's good to see all the action that happens in this book. You get to see some a cool villain in this issue as well. So, you know, looking at the book, it wasn't half bad. Again, not as good as it normally would be, but still fun, right? So in this book, you wind up seeing Barry and Nightwing as they team up together to do battle against KG Beast, as he has a hit on him. And there was this master assassin that's giving all these jobs to people, right? And so they interrogate KG Beast once they capture him to try to find out who that master assassin is. and they wind up going to the headquarters, and they wind up stopping them, and they wind up stopping all the assassins in Bloodhaven. And there's this word out in the street that from Lady Shiva saying, you know what, Blockbuster, if you want to stop Dick Grayson, you're going to have to do it yourself, because no one else is going to do it. So that was basically the story in the nutshell. But what I got out of this book, and this is at times what Tom Taylor does really well, is the dynamic between Dick Grayson and Barry Allen. You can see their relationship on the pages of this book, how they work so well together, and I love all those types of scenes, right? You can tell that this is just an organic friendship. It doesn't feel forced in this issue, and I love all the interrogation processes in here. The characters in this book is great, and once again, for the second issue in a row, even though it's a team up, we've got to see the progression of the plot of the story. Maybe not by very much, but we got to see it a little. They're still, on that heartless guy, and they're still at Blockbuster trying to kill Dick Grayson. It just seems like a very, decompressed story. But nevertheless, I love seeing these two interact with each other. That's what made the issue for me. Hopefully now we get some more story progression in the next issue. Coming in at number 3 goes to World's Finest issue 2. I love this book. This one little book makes you feel like you're in an entire DC universe from like the past. The artwork is lighter. The storytelling is a little bit lighter. You get to see relationships between characters, and that's what I love about this book, and that's what DC Comics needs more of. This book is a breath of fresh air. Dan Mora's artwork is so detailed, and I love it. Like, check this out, man. Look at this other page in here as well, as we get this villain by the name as the Devil Neza. I think that's his name. We get Supergirl. We get Dick Grayson in this book. Not Dick Grayson, Tim Drake in this book. Batman's in here. There's good humor between characters, and it's not forced. It's just very subtle. There's little sprinkles of the humor in there. It's just so well done. So what this story had to offer was, obviously, it was based off of the first issue where Superman got injected by red kryptonite, right? And our Doom Patrol heroes had to bring Superman to the operating table to use green kryptonite to, get it expelled out of his body, right? So, and that's what happened. So Superman lives, everything is fine. That was all a setup to what the main plot is going to be into this book. And we find out there's this sword that our Doom Patrol characters have come across. It's this ancient history thing where this guy ruled the world and he's very powerful, and they imprisoned him, and now he's broken free and he's controlling all these other villains to do their biddings so he can take over the world once again. And it is our hero's job to go back in time to find a way to imprison him once again, and the others to stop the villains that are causing chaos through the city right now. Again, very well told story, very detailed. It never seemed boring. There was action in the right places. Supergirl and Tim had some great interactions with each other, which they seem mad at each other, but I don't quite know what it's for. But if you guys know that, just, put that in the comments below. But here is their, they have those interactions with each other. And I was just like, oh, I found it actually really comical. So great looking book overall. Great story. I'm in this one for a long haul. I can't wait for issue 3, man. Really, really good. All right, coming in at number 2, this was definitely a surprise pick for me. I actually wasn't going to get this book originally anyway, but again, since it was a light week, it gives you a chance to discover other books that maybe you normally wouldn't buy. Like, for instance, if this book came out next week, I would never buy this, right? But this goes to the secret history of the war on weed, celebrating, 420. And Jerry Duggan actually has a message here on why he created this book. And obviously, he believes in medical use and all that other stuff. Like, it's sprinkled in this comic book. And there's, again, a charity for this book. But this book was so well crafted. It's about this guy that serves the military for years and years by the name of Scotch. And he's a freaking crazy lunatic. He's been part of the military since he was in 4th grade. He lied about his age, saying he was in 7th grade, right? And so he works for Madam President. This takes place in the 80s. He does battle against like lizard creatures, and dude's just roided out. I mean, it's absolutely insane. And the poll numbers for Madam President is very low. So back in the 80s, you know, drugs is very bad, marijuana is very bad. So what happens is they send Scotch out to take out this cannabis farm. And so he goes out on this mission. He starts torching everything. And the great thing about this book is that it's not serious. I mean, it's very funny. It's hilarious. The puns in this book are absolutely hysterical. It has you laughing all the way through. The narration from Jerry Duggan is exquisite in this book. It's so well done. And these cannabis people wind up capturing Scotch, and they make him high for the first time, and he comes across the weed thing. It's so hilarious, dude. It's so funny. So he gets high, and then he winds up joining their group, and he goes against the U.S. government, and they go against all these different types of cast of characters from like the 80s. One guy's like a Don Johnson from Miami Vice. One chick is like a Cyndi Lauper, and just it's so comical when you get to see like this Nazi robot. I mean, it's a hilarious book. And within the book, they put in activity pages and crossword puzzles. It's just a fun read. I really enjoyed this book, and this book was $4.99. You know, I love when books surprise you like this. And again, this is why you read comics and why you explore other things, because you never know what's going to surprise you. This could have been just a crappy ass book, but this was well crafted, well thought up of, and my hat's off to Jerry Duggan by writing this book. So before we jump into my number one comic of the week, up to this point, I still have 3 other books that I have to read that could overtake these top 5. And the first one goes to The Nice House on the Lake, book number 8, always a strong contender. Next, we have the conclusion to The Knighted. This is issue 5 of 5. And then I have Dark Beach issue 1 done by Behemoth. So find out what my final top 5 is on my live stream Tuesday nights, 10:15 p.m. Eastern Time, Comic Book Weekly. So the number one book at this point goes to a book that I did not anticipating to be so well done. I thought Hulk would be this, but it wasn't. And this goes to Captain America issue 0, the best issue of Captain America I have read in quite some time. This one is done by Jackson Lansing and Colin Kelly. The artwork in this book is honestly what makes this book so well done, and this is going to be the creative team on the Captain America book, not the Sam Wilson book. And in this book, you get the 2 teaming up together. But when you look at the artwork in this book, it is exquisite. I mean, it complements the story so well. And with this type of artwork, you got to expect that there's going to be lots of action in this next Captain America series, because when you want to showcase artwork, this is the way you do it, right? I mean, every page, just action. So awesome, man. Check that out. Like, I have to showcase a lot of this artwork. Well worth the price of this, $4.99 price tag. So did the story equal up to the good artwork? I want to say yes. Arnim Zola was in this issue. He's launching this rocket that was disguised in this building this whole time, and his rocket is gonna, take over Earth. Like, it's gonna remake Earth into something different. And you get to see Captain America and Falcon, which is Sam Wilson, other Captain America, working together, right, to take down this rocket from destroying Earth. And seeing this high-octane adventure was just a complete page-turner. The dialogue from Arnim Zola was absolutely awesome, and just seeing Cap and Sam Wilson working together was A+ stuff right there. I would have loved to see if these guys would work together all the time, but they're going to be in their own separate books, and that's going to be a shame. So it is what it is. Do we need 2 Captain Americas? I never thought we did. So you're going to have to, you know, pick and choose which Captain America book you want. I think a lot of people are probably going to go with the, you know, Steve Rogers book, but I think I'm going to try both of them. But I think the main Captain America book is going to be the standout because it has this particular creative team on it. But again, seeing them go through this high octane adventure, trying to take down this rocket, destroy Arnim Zola, was A+ stuff in my book, man. I just was so surprised by this. And we had this same artist, I think, recently do King the Conqueror, like I read. And if you were on the fence about buying this particular issue, I would say go out and buy it. It is so well done, man. I loved reading this and looking at this book. So there you have it, webheads. Hopefully you're enjoying your books at this time, and I'm really looking forward to hearing what are your favorite books so far at this point in the comic book week. And guys, if you like this video, I'm going to leave you more content right here. In fact, this is my comic book day haul where I show off all the comic books I picked up for the week. And of course, guys, keep buying, keep collecting, but most importantly, keep reading your comics. Guys, see you real soon. Take care. Bye.